The American culture is not rooted in a race or religion. It's rooted in a set of ideas. You know what those ideas are? A meritocracy. If you work hard and play by the rules, you can succeed. That's an American value. You know what else is American value? It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you came from. I'm sorry?
Well, no. That's not the American values. The Constitution clearly, does not do what you don't look like.
Wait, no, hold on. But the Constitution is completely agnostic to race. Where does it say once about skin color in the Constitution?
African slaves.
The 13th Amendment abolished slavery.
Yeah. The Constitution,
so that's
when
in
it
the
was written,
Constitution.
A value.
I'm defending the Constitution as it is today.
Oh, as it is today.
Yeah,
okay.
so as it is today. The Constitution is agnostic to race and applies equal application of law to all people. As the Constitution has been ratified and amended, explain to me how what I'm saying is incorrect.
Because when you have a history of slavery, it's still going to play out into today.
So if that argument holds true, if the Constitution was written to benefit only white people, why is it that Asian Americans are the richest people by race in America right now?
Because the Constitution wasn't written to make people rich.
Was the Constitution written in Korean?
The Constitution was written to make people own slaves.
Yeah, yet Korean Americans and Vietnamese are actually benefiting the greatest from this American experiment.
Actually, in California, as a direct result of Asian success, there were laws passed that stopped Asian Americans, or Asians period, Asian immigrants, from being able to become citizens or own land.
Chinese Exclusion Act, you don't recall
of Asian success.
Structurally,
there have been many roadblocks.
So you're proving my point precisely?
No, I'm not.
So your point is that we were racist against Asian Americans, and now they're the richest in America, so they went through a vast time of inequities, and they rose above it, and they're much richer per income and wealth than white Americans.
No, that happens because Americans realized that they fucked up, and they lost all of the labor that was going to be possible for people to work on farms in California in order to exploit the land that was in California. There was no way for them to have people to work there, and that's why they brought immigrants back. That's why.
So what social program was designed?
America was literally built on our backs.
That again, swearing and saying things like that doesn't make your argument any more valid.
But it helps me take out a little bit of my anger.
That's fair. Then if it was rigged for a specific group of people, Asian Americans are the richest by race. The second are Indian Americans, people from India. And the third would be white Americans.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, so why is that?
How do you feel about phrenology?
Racial inequality then on the other side.
So why? No, but explain to me why that is. I could tell you why it is though.
Maybe the top 1 or 5% are the richest. What about the global South? What about the poverty? What about the lowest?
What about okay, so let's talk about
the lowest 50%. What are
in America or globally?
No, in America. And globally, as well
Okay.
as globally. What's their racial background? What's the racial demographic of that? Mostly people of color, not white people.
But the Asian Americans are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder relatively.
A very small number.
No, in the aggregate. In the aggregate. If you look at the way the data is compiled and presented to us, they are the richest per capita group by race in America. Why? Because over the last 50 years, Asian Americans graduated from high school in record numbers. They did not commit crimes.
Because we're smarter than you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's a racist argument you just made.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into eugenics, but you just said you're smarter. I don't think that. I don't think any race is smarter.
There are other races that haven't done what you're describing.
Because the two groups that are poorest by race in America are Native American Indians and African Americans. We've done the most to try to help them over the last 50, 60 years. We have the Bureau of Native American Affairs in the federal government. We spent $22 trillion in the federal government trying to help Black America, and Black America is poorer today than before we tried to start to help them. $22 trillion.
Racism that just exists in the system.
Okay, so your argument, institutional racism. My argument is failed policies that Lyndon Baines Johnson, a bitter and committed racist, you and I will both agree, and a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act, passed the Great Society, which clustered.
Do you think JFK was going to sign the Civil Rights Act?
Well, he wanted to before he was.
He was certainly not going to.
So you're right. The Democrats were opposed to it. You're right. The Northeast Democrats.
LBJ was definitely for it because he was from South Texas.
So what did he call the Great Society bill?
Oh no, LBJ was a racist. He was an old white man.
Are all white people racist?
I would say that I think white people have an implicit bias. You can argue with me. I think white people have an implicit bias.
Do you understand how racist it is to think that all white people are racist?
racism. We don't experience racism when we find
Okay.
Power structures.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So then how did Asian Americans climb up the power structure?
That has nothing.
No, can anyone explain that to me? Because I can't.
I'll explain. Most Asian Americans here. Okay, you said Native Americans, Black Americans.
Are the two
they're the
poorest by race?
I know.
That's
what
inarguable.
keeps them in common? Okay,
What keeps them in common?
They've been here for a while.
Okay, so you know what
Native
keeps them in
Americans-
common?
Yeah.
They also
I'll
get the
explain,
most
okay.
government benefits per capita than any other group in America because the way government programs are.
That's a symptom, not a cause.
No. And you can go to almost a direct date. Black America is poorer today than before we started helping Black America. The welfare
By
programs.
helping even by desegregating, I don't think that's much help.
Okay, so how about this? The black single motherhood rate in year 1964 was 22%. Now it's 74%. How on earth does that happen? It happens because we subsidized single motherhood through the 70s, 80s, and 90s by saying if you get married, you lose your government benefits.
Subsidize fucking birth control for lower income people. That's why.
Then why is it only their community, the black community, that saw a spike in the single motherhood rate?
Because
They're
they
the
don't
lowest
have the
income.
same access to it because they've been fucking written out of those
But
laws.
weren't Asian Americans written out of the laws in the 1940s and
No,
50s?
because they are not black.
Oh, okay, so it's only black people that experienced a tough 20th century.
No, I'm talking about black people that were specifically written out of these laws.
Asian Americans were written out of laws in the 1940s.
I
We put
understand.
Asian Americans in internment camps.
I understand.
So what you
did
could.
that?
I'm sorry.
You did that?
Well, California Democrats did that in the 1940s under the direction of Franklin Delano
Parties
Roosevelt.
switched positions on those ideas. Did you take U.S. history?
Yeah, I did. That is one of the biggest lies ever taught in U.S. history, and we could talk about that. So, Democrats have always been about control and always been about power. That is the continuity. Republicans have always been about freedom. The Republican Party was founded in 1860 as an anti-slavery freedom for all people. The Republican Party was founded as an anti-slavery party for rights of all Americans in 1860, founded in Ripon, Wisconsin, and it has not changed. It has always been about the equality and freedom of all people. The Democrat Party has always been about division.